Ladies and gentlemen, we start the press conference between the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Latvia and New Zealand, respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, today my colleague, Foreign Minister of New Zealand, Mr. Murray McCully, has came here for a visit. In a way, this visit has been planned and promised for a long time, and I'm happy that the promise has been held, that my colleague has visited Latvia in a working visit to discuss our bilateral cooperation issues, as well as issues related to our views on opinions on challenges both in Europe and on the other side of Pacific. At first, I would like to express my gratitude to New Zealand for its support in our accession process to the OECD. As you know, also today, the Parliament of Latvia is reviewing the draft law on ratification of the OECD agreement. We hope that soon we will become a full-pledged member of the OECD. We hope that our participation to the OECD will also facilitate our economic and political dialogue. We also discussed the mutual relationship between Latvia and New Zealand, and as well as a partnership agreement between the EU and New Zealand, and the conclusion of the free trade agreement between the New Zealand and the EU. Latvia fully supports the conclusion of all the above-mentioned instruments. We believe that it will promote not only the economical but also political relationship. We also discussed the necessary steps in strengthening our bilateral relationship. I believe that our political dialogue has become more active lately. A year ago, on the 16th of June, I visited Wellington, New Zealand, and now my colleague from New Zealand is here in Riga. We were discussing also the expansion of honorary consulars. Currently, it is scheduled to appoint 2 Latvian honorary consuls to New Zealand. We hope that it will give a positive impetus to our further relationship. We as well started negotiations on concluding the agreement on prevention of double taxation, as well as discussed our cooperation in various international organizations, including UN. A lot was spoken about the situation in Ukraine, in Pacific region, as well as climate change package. We agreed to continue our dialogue. We truly hope that also the Prime Minister of New Zealand will find time and opportunity to visit Latvia in his next visits to Europe. We are also looking forward to facilitate and activate our cooperation in education field. The working holiday program is actively working. However, I'd say that it's much more used from Latvian side than from the side of New Zealand. I rather not mention the figures, but I believe that there is still a vast space for improvements. I hope that this visit will become a wonderful opportunity to strengthen and promote our bilateral relationship. Thank you, Mr. Rinkevich. Now I give the floor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of New Zealand.
Very much, Foreign Minister, and at the outset, can I say how pleased I am to be here 1 year after your visit to New Zealand to add further to the depth and breadth of the ties between our 2 countries and to further enhance and enrich the conversation that's taking place between our 2 countries. Can I start by congratulating you on the formal steps that you have just spoken of today to conclude the accession of your country to the OECD. I should say that I was no doubt one of many OECD foreign ministers that was lobbied very assertively by Foreign Minister Rinkovits in the course of the fairly lengthy process of concluding your candidature. And can I congratulate you on successfully landing what's been a very complex but very meaningful candidature. We look forward to working with you in the context of the OECD, as well as in the other multilateral fora that you mentioned, particularly in relation to the United Nations. Our two countries are relatively small countries, and I want to express my personal view that it is important for smaller countries like ours to work together, to swap notes, to find areas for cooperation, because we live in a world where only by cooperating can smaller nations ensure that their voices are heard and that they are able to be fully persuasive. Bilaterally, there are good steps underway to bring our two countries, which are geographically so far apart, closer together. We have in New Zealand a very strong European heritage and a strong sense of European values, as they would, I think, be regarded internationally. And so we start from the same base of principle in dealing with many of the challenges confronting this region and confronting the world, and we have a lot to gain from working together. The Foreign Minister has reminded me of the need for New Zealand to step up its engagement through the Working Holiday Scheme, and I've committed to doing that. We have other areas of endeavour like the double taxation agreement and in particular the quest for a free trade agreement between New Zealand and the European Union that will bring our countries closer together over time. Today I want to put on record my strong appreciation of the support that Latvia has given to New Zealand, first of all in its concluding the PARC, the relationship agreement that we have now completed with the European Union, and the support that's been provided as we look to start a negotiation towards a free trade agreement, which will enable us to maintain on an equal footing our trade relationship with countries in Europe in an increasingly competitive world. So it's been a very fruitful and productive engagement today. I look forward to maintaining contact. I look forward to closer bilateral ties between our two countries, and I look forward to working together as small countries that share similar values in dealing with the significant challenges that exist in the world today. Thank you.
Paldies Makalī kungam. Vai ir kādi jautājumi?
Thank you, Mr. Makalī. Are there any questions from the media? Jānis Ransans, a question to Foreign Minister of New Zealand. It's been time since New Zealand and Australia are included in military operations in Iraq and have trained around 7,000 Iraqi soldiers. Are you planning to engage more in military operations against ISIL?
New Zealand plays in Iraq as simply one of providing training to enable the Iraqi military to be able to ensure their own security for the future. We have 143 military personnel based in Camp Taji, and as you say, there's been an impressive record of training local military personnel to be able to carry out their tasks. The government made a 2-year commitment to this initiative, and we have, in the process of the last few weeks, been looking at what this mission might hold for the future. So there'll be some decisions from the New Zealand government about what that future looks like quite soon. We said we would review it at the end of the first year and made public our satisfaction with the process so far. And we'll, as I say, have more to say about our views going forward. I've been particularly keen to find ways of doing some work in civilian capacity building, and that's going to be an emphasis as we move forward.
Paldies. Vai vēl kādi jautājumi?
Thank you. Are there any more questions? If there are no questions, thank you all for attention.